Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, we
You can hear me
can.
clearly? Okay, thank you much. Thank you.
Hi, Francesca. Hi, all.
Hi. Let me make sure that I okay.
Hey, Fran, it's Philippe. I've made you and Melissa co-hosts. Let me know
Yeah.
if you emails. I'll be on standby, okay?
Okay. When you're heading out, you can text me.
No, I can. I'll be here, just muted. That's all. But I've
Okay,
got my
cool.
headphones in, so if you need anything, just
Oh.
put it in the chat or just call me out.
Okay, cool.
I'll try to help you out. All right.
All right. Thanks. Mhm. Melissa, when you can go in next to your name in the participants and put board member next to your name.
Okay, let me try and do that now.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to looking at yours. I have to fix mine. Hi, how are you?
Sorry,
What's
I just
good?
realized I was on mute. Hi, everyone. It's Tahisha from One Book and Hell.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good,
Welcome.
good.
Awesome.
Forward. What are we cooking?
Well,
I
I'm
don't
here.
even know.
I'll just pause my video whenever you guys ready. I'll just pause. I just wanted to make sure I was logged in.
Okay. I
Sure.
actually don't know what we're
Okay.
cooking. What are we cooking?
Salmon. We're gonna do some salmon with some spinach, and it's a surprise.
You're going down my
Hold on.
you going down my alley. You're going down my alley. I'm a salmon girl.
Good.
I have some tuna
Very
defrosted
good.
right now. Oh, I just let in Dr. Simon. Hopefully he was able to come in.
Okay.
All right. I see him here. Hi, Dr. Simon.
Fran,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Tahisha. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Ned.
Good. Everything.
Enid, can you fix your name and just put next to your name when you go into the participants and just rename and put Kingsbrook or whatever you want to put it. And
Okay.
Tahisha, can you do the same thing? We just want everybody to be identified.
Tahisha, put Kingsbrook at OBH, okay?
Okay.
And yeah.
And let me turn my light on. Hold on. 1 minute.
Hello?
Hi, Dr. Simon.
Oh, I couldn't hear anything. I was getting kind of concerned here.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful.
Okay, I cannot see myself. Is the light
I
bright?
cannot see. I cannot see you either. Your camera is not on.
My camera is not on. Okay, okay, you're right. Yes, okay. What about now? Okay.
Here we go. Here we go.
It's
Wonderful.
It's kind of dark. Okay.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us. We welcome you.
The pleasure is mine. Is that enough light?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lose.
So, Miss Fran,
Yes.
we know that Dr. Simon is going to go first, right? Miss Flateau had requested. And then.
Yes, she spoke to me today. Yeah.
Mhm. And Dr. Simon, hello, by the way. It's good to have you.
Hi,
I'm Tina Dillard from Kingsbrook, One Brooklyn Health. It's a pleasure.
beautiful. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you so much. And so Dr. Simon goes, and then we'll have a quick word from the health coach at Kingsbrook at One Brooklyn Health, Miss Fran, who runs the diabetes self-management program.
So what I'm going to do, when everybody come on and we're ready to start, I'll just welcome everybody. Then I'm going to turn the floor over to Ms. Plato. And after, when she's, then Dr. Simon will come in, he'll do his piece.
Yes.
And when he's finished, then I'll turn the floor over to you.
Good.
So and then you'll take
I'll
it from there,
introduce
okay?
Janine and then Tahisha. Perfect.
Yes.
Yep, we should be good. Okay. Tahisha. Oh, she left her kitchen. Okay, she's coming back.
Hello. Hi, Simon.
How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Did you get your lunch, Francisca?
Yes, I did. I had to go to my fridge.
Oh, okay. That's usually the best place. Hey, Dr. Simon, how are you?
Hi, Adele, my friend. How are you?
I'm pretty good considering all the other options.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hope you will be able to let 2 questions come in from the audience, if possible.
Definitely.
If at all possible.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a, definitely we'll be able to take a few questions.
Okay.
And then we'll also allow them to put any questions in the chat they have as well.
Okay, good.
I'm looking to see, Khalid, will we have the chat? I'm not seeing the chat there.
Hi, friend. The chat is not available.
Oh.
No, I'm not seeing it. And then also when we start, oh, okay, so you have it recording already, good. But I'm not seeing the chat. I'm not seeing, I'm just seeing share screen, but I'm not seeing it.
Oh, no.
No, we haven't started. We started at
Most I'm also not saying
8.
track 7.
I think Khalid, you could probably change the setting to allow for the chat, but we may have to come back in.
If that's the case,
Yeah,
we'll just allow people to ask questions. You just raise their hand and ask question as we go.
We still
Right.
have
If
like
I were
about
to
10
make
minutes.
that adjustment, I would have to, you're right, log out and go in because I'm actually operating from my mobile right now. I'm not in front of my laptop.
Yeah, it's okay. I know the reason that we have it this way, so it's okay. You can leave it as is, and we'll just allow people to ask questions.
Okay. All right then.
Okay. All right.
Let's have them ask the questions at the end.
Yes, definitely.
Otherwise, we'll lose control.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know about those situations.
Thank you, Khalid.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I just have to do something quick.
Okay.
Hello, Fran.
Hi.
Hey, it's Melissa. I got knocked off and I think it's, so now I'm not co-hosting with you again. You have to.
Okay. Khalid. Yeah, Khalid, can you allow
Oh, I think.
connect make her co-host, please.
Mm.
Khalid, can you make Melissa co-host, please? Thank you. Thank you.
No
Thank-
problem. No problem.
I see a couple of NAUW members came on.
Okay. And I see our board chair is with us as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Good to see you, Mr. Baptist.
Always a
Oh,
pleasure
okay.
to see your name on the Zoom screen, Ms. French. Leopold.
Thank you.
I'll put on my camera when you do.
Yeah.
And good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Since our chair is here from the board, after I welcome everyone, I'll allow him to say a few words, and then Adele, I'm going to pass it over to you, okay?
Okay, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm looking, I usually give people like a 5 minutes grace period. So I'm looking to start like 7:05, give people time to come in.
Sounds good. Okay, good. I see a few of my people here.
I am just about to give a talk on Zoom. So we can see that after 8. Okay.
So Enid, if you look, you're a co-host as well, okay?
Oh, good. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chair.
So
Good to see you.
Team a chance to, yeah, so let me give the makeup team a chance to try and do something. Yeah.
So you put on the makeup and allow it to dry first, right?
Yeah, that's it. They're under pressure. This is the best they could do in short notice.
Yeah, I'm not saying the lipstick though. The lipstick is not showing.
No, I told them tone it down today. Today, we're trying something different.
Okay.
I see several NAUW people. Hello, good evening, sisters. Get quiet.
They're all muted.
Yeah.
Good evening, this is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Good evening, this is Alice. It's also Holy Thursday. A lot of people go to church Holy Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Pam. Good evening.
Hi, Pam. Hi, Lisa. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I only hope whilst everybody waiting, they have their pen and paper with them, so they don't want our chefs start cooking, they don't have to get up and say, wait, and have to run. So just make sure you are prepared. And when we meet next month, then you will share with us, because I'm hoping to see every one of you back again next month for our second round. And then everyone will share with us with did they try the recipe and how it tastes. I definitely.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep it up here. This is where I keep it up here.
Oh, that's why you have it up there?
Up here, this is where I keep it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's now 7:03.
Hi, Francis. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. And you? How's everybody?
You know, I'm not feeling well because I'm just hearing your voice. That's a little bit good. But if I see your face, I'll feel better. I haven't seen your face, since like when? God knows when.
Long.
And I always like to see your face.
You have me smiling. It is so cold.
So you see, I want to see the smile. I do want, I want to see the smile.
The rest of us, and the rest of us feel bad because apparently we weren't sufficient,
Oh, yeah, that voice. I know that voice.
That's your friend, our chair.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Great.
Okay, 1 more minute to go before we start. We're starting promptly at 7. I saw Mr. Cummins coming in, but I'm not seeing him. Oh, here he is. Okay.
Hola, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Cummins. So, well, it's now 7 p.m. and I am so excited. I'm like a child in the candy store. I am so excited I'm excited to see every one of you, and I just want to welcome each and every one of you. I know someone made mention that today is Holy Thursday, but I'm so happy that some of you have taken time out to be here with us and just to take part in this grand, for me, it's a grand occasion because it's food, it's because I like food, and especially what is being prepared tonight. I just love it. I want to welcome and thank Enid from Kingsbrook for being the person spearheading this, to putting it together, and Miss Plato, they've been behind the scene and working, and our people at the board office trying to send out the invitations and making sure all the logistics are placed together. So I want to just welcome each one of you. Thank you, Ms. Dillard, Ms. Plato, thank you. And I welcome Dr. Simon, but most of all, I welcome each and every one of you who is here present with us tonight, because if you're not here, guess what? We'll just have to cook for ourselves. We wouldn't have anyone to share it with. So we thank you so much. I thank you so much for being here with us. And you're in for a surprise. And this is the first of 3 presentations. So I'm expecting to see you next month and in May, and also in June. And June, I'm telling you, you are in for something, because one of our persons who's right there with us, he will be doing the cooking. So you don't want to miss that. And he just showed his face, Mr. Cummins. Mr. Cummins will be our chef in June.
You do
So
not want to
just
miss
invite
that.
a friend. You don't want to miss that. Invite a friend and come on in June. Okay, so I'm hoping to see you, and I'm so happy to see a whole lot of you. I just hope that I can see your face, that we could talk. I can see your bright smiles. So I'm so thank you and welcome. And now I would like to hear a word from, we have our chair from the board with us. So my name is Francisca Leopold. I'm the chair for Health and Social Services at Community Board 9. And then Melissa, go ahead.
Hi, good evening all. My name is Melissa Severe. I'm a Community Board 9 board member and also a member of the Health Committee as well. Thank you.
Okay, so before I pass it over to the chair, I would like to start from Enid to everyone introduce themselves so we know who we are and where we are from. Go ahead, Enid.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for being here. It's my pleasure. I'm very excited to present one of our chefs from One Brooklyn Health this evening. My name is Enid Dillard. I'm the Director of Marketing and Public Affairs at Kingsbrook at One Brooklyn Health, and it's my pleasure to produce one of 2 series for Cooking in COVID.
Dr. Simon.
Yes. Well, I do not know where to start. I know Adele was going to present me. All I can say is that I'm Dr.
Oh no, we just need to, we don't need to do you say much. We just need you to just give us your name. Okay. And where you're from.
Harold Simon. I am in private practice. My background is very extensive, so we don't have time to go into that.
Okay. Adele?
Yes, my name is Adele Plateau. I'm the president of the National Association of University Women Brooklyn branch, and I'm very happy to be partnering with Community Board 9 and with Ms. Dillard at Kingsbrook One Brooklyn Health.
Miss Allen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janine Allen, and I'm one of the health coach at Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Center, and I also run the DPP workshops there.
Ms. Goddard. So everyone can unmute yourself, and as I get to you, you just do your thing. I want to give everybody an opportunity so we could know our sisters and our neighbors. Go ahead, Ms. Goddard.
Hi, I'm Lois Goddard. I'm from Community Board 18 here in Brooklyn.
Okay, we go to Mr. Cummins. You're muted.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Maurice Cummings, Special Assistant to New York City Councilwoman Alika Ampry Samuel. Pleasure to be here and thank you.
Ms. Holloway. Okay, Juanita, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, Juanita.
It's Juanita. Hi, I'm Juanita Saldivar. I am an NAUW Brooklyn branch member, and I'm happy to be here and excited because I love food.
Miss Holloway, back at you, Miss Holloway, and then I'm going to Miss Clark.
Hi, my name is Pamela Davis Holloway. I am on the Civic Committee for our National Association of University Women. Thank you for having us.
Oh, Ms. Clark. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi,
okay.
I'm Lisa Clark, and I am a member of the Civic Engagement Committee, and I'm also co-chair actually of the Education and Scholarship Committee for the Brooklyn branch of the National Association of University Women.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Almanar.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Nicholas Almanar. I'm very glad to be part of that. I'm supposed to be doing the Haitian Creole translation for this session, So as Mr. Cumming is cooking, I will translate to our Haitian brothers and sisters. I'm also member of Community Board 9. It's been a wonderful 6 months so far.
Thank you, Miss Doris. And then after Miss Doris, we move into Miss Johnson.
Going to get fast. Hello.
Hi.
My name is Doris Douglas. I am the member of the NAUW. I'm the chairperson of the Civic Engagement Committee. I have been a member of NAUW for over 60 years. I'm one of their legends. I'm very active in all aspects of the organization, and it's a pleasure for me to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Miss Johnson, after Miss Johnson, we're moving to Brenda.
Good evening. My name is Lania Carter Johnson. I'm a member of National Association of University Women Flushing North Shore Branch. I'm here under the invitation of the Brooklyn branch.
Brenda, after Brenda, we're moving to Miss Davidson. Okay, all right, Miss Davidson, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Laura Davidson, and I am an invited guest of the Brooklyn chapter of NAUW. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we're moving fast. I see Mike R. After Mike R, I'm moving to Charlene.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Rublin. I just got an email literally a few hours ago from Francisca, and yeah, I'm with Heights and Hills. We represent community families that are caring for anyone who is elderly, and just trying to kind of jump back in here, and we serve this area. So I figured I'd check this out today.
Thank you for being here. So Charlene and Audrey.
Good evening, I'm Charlene Clark, and I am a pending member of NAUW. I'm here this evening because I'm actually pre-diabetic and trying very hard not to cross over to the other side. So I'm looking forward to learning all there is to learn this evening. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Audrey V.
Hi, good evening. My name is Audrey Vaughn. I'm actually from Community Board 3, and I'm a member of the Brooklyn Brownstoners of Bedford-Stuyvesant. Glad to be here this evening.
Thank you for being here. Then we have Delia's computer. And I know my friend that I was talking to a while ago, she's somewhere around. Delia, go ahead. I'm not introducing our chef. I'm leaving our chef for later, you know. I'm leaving her for later. I'm not introducing. Okay, so if there's anyone that we didn't hear from them, please just put up your hand. But because of time, we'll be moving on. And from now, I'll just turn the floor over and I'll give our chair, our beloved chair, Fred Baptiste, the floor for 2 minutes. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Hi, everybody. My name is Karen Crawford, and I represent the Brooklyn DA's office, and I'm your liaison to the office. So thanks for having me. I'm on the phone.
Thank you. See, you didn't show me your face. That's why I missed you. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Fran, I just want to thank you and the Health and Social Services Committee for this event. I want to thank all the partners. One Health Brooklyn, you are phenomenal. I see the National Association of University Women is in here very strong, as you know, absolutely we would expect. I just want to say, one, I hope everyone is doing well, that you and your loved ones are well. It has definitely been a crazy year, to really understate it. But I really want to say that, you know, I was really happy to hear about this topic in terms of this is something that's very timely as well, in terms of, you know, we have to take care of ourselves. And that means, you know, sometimes it might even mean relearning how to, you know, healthy habits. I know with COVID, a lot of us, maybe we're not as motivated to be in the kitchen. We've probably gained some of 15 pounds or so. I know I have. But I think this is something that's really good in terms of we get back to healthy habits, making sure we stay healthy, because that's really what helps us to deal with these kinds of, it makes us, helps us to maintain our resistance and keep up our strength. So I'm going to keep this blessedly short, but I do want to thank all the partners for coming together and doing this. I want to thank all the attendees for coming this evening. Looking forward to gaining some new information in terms of cooking better during COVID. And I turn the floor back to Madam Chair. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just before I turn the floor over to Ms. Flato, I just want to let you know after Dr. Simon is introduced and he do his presentation, please hold all your, have your pen and paper and write your questions down, and then we will take all your questions after he have do his presentation. I thank you for being here, and now I turn it over to Ms. Flato.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Leopold, and thank you to all of our guests tonight. I just want to take a couple of minutes to introduce my dear friend and colleague who I've known for almost 30 years, hard to believe. But we worked together at New York City Health and Hospitals for many, many years. He was the medical director at the East New York Clinic on Pitkin and Pennsylvania Avenue. He's also been in private practice since I think 1995 in Brooklyn. And he's the chairperson and founder of Asclepius Medical Society, which is a wonderful organization that helps foreign medical students to complete their medical education here in the US and to pass their exams. And they also do a lot of work in the community doing health fairs. I've participated in many of them with them and raising money for special projects back in Haiti. I'm really pleased to present Dr. Simon today. He's a wonderful lecturer. He's a fantastic doctor. He has a private practice, as I mentioned, on Utica Avenue. And he'll be speaking today about diabetes, but he's knowledgeable about many, many medical issues. And I'm sure that you all will learn a lot from him today. The presentation will be fairly brief, but there will be time for some questions afterwards. Well, thank you, Dr. Simon.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for inviting me to be here. Just like you all, I am very excited to be here, but I am pleased to be here for 3 reasons. Finally, I'm going to learn how to cook. That's very important. I just saw my friend Nicholas on the screen. I haven't seen him for some 35 years. Nicholas, I'm happy to see you.
So do I, high school classmates.
There you go, there you go.
We met in high school.
Yes, sir. Lastly, I have spoken on diabetes many, many, many times. Believe it or not, each time I have an opportunity to educate the public on diabetes, it gives me such a pleasure. It's different from lecturing to doctors or medical students. So each time I have the opportunity to do that, I feel elated. Now, let me try to move on. All of us know someone with diabetes. Parents, family, friends, neighbors, colleagues. It's a very common disease. About 34 million Americans have diabetes. And of course, it's an estimate, likely it's much more than that. What is diabetes? Diabetes is a condition in which the body has a lot of sugar to use, but the body cannot use the sugar. You just imagine that you're in a sea of water, you're thirsty, but you cannot drink. That's what diabetes is about. Now, when you eat your food, you chew the food, it goes down to your stomach, down to your intestine, it is absorbed, it gets into your bloodstream, and now different parts of your body are exposed to the sugar for them to use. The fact of the matter is the sugar is there, it cannot be used as efficiently as it should. So it is sitting there, building up there, just like everything else. If you have too much of something, it is going to cause some harm. Maybe that's not true for money, but that's debatable. But everything else you have too much of at some point, in one way or another, is going to cause some trauma. There are 2 types of diabetes. There is type 1 and there is type 2. Type 2 is very, very rare. In my 35 years of 35 years or so of practicing medicine, I must have had only 3 patients with type 1 diabetes. And most doctors or all doctors will tell you the same thing. Type 2 is very common. It usually develops by the age of 30, 40, 50, but nowadays, because of obesity, which is so rampant, we see some young children having diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Rarely someone at the age of 50 or 60 can have diabetes as well, but that's not very common. Now let's touch some basics. Looking at food. Food has 3 major components. They are, as you know, sugar, protein, and lipids. Of course, you can think about vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. So let's put these on the side, because to build up or to create energy, you are going to have to use these 3: sugar, protein, and lipids. Guess what? The most efficient one is sugar. The most efficient one is easy to burn in your body. It's easy to be converted into ATP or energy. So the body, for the most part, take the brain is not part of that, but most body will go and use sugar. Protein is very complicated to break down. Lipids is used for storage, so that during starvation or if you're not eating, basically lipids are going to be a very good source of energy for you. Now, how is sugar used by our body? Very simply by saying that you need insulin to be able to utilize sugar. If you do not have insulin in your system, you will not be able to process sugar. Now, many years ago, the example that I read in a book is that insulin is like a key, and it gets to a lock, it opens up the door, and once that is done, sugar can enter into the cell to be used. That's a lock and key hypothesis, a very common hypothesis that we use in many other things, but I think it fits so well here. Without insulin to come in as a key to open the door for the sugar to get into the cell or the parts of the body, the sugar will stay outside, causing a lot of mayhem, but not being able to be utilized as a source of energy for the body. Now, causes of diabetes are of 2. I mean, we're talking about simple things here. When you get into the biomechanism or the biochemistry as to what happens here, it becomes very, very complicated. But overall, where we are right now, it's very simple. You need to have insulin to use sugar. If you don't have enough insulin, you're going to develop diabetes. The second time is resistance to insulin. There are a lot of people who have enough insulin to be used, but because the body is resistant to it, it cannot be used. This is what happens in obesity, for example. That's one population that develop diabetes, very common. And the cause is because that there is a resistance to insulin. Even if it's there, it cannot be used. So that in the back of our mind, there are 2 main ways to treat diabetes. Make insulin available if it's not there. Or if there is a resistance to it, you put more of insulin in the body. So the more insulin you put, the more you'll be able to address the resistance that is a problem. Now, complication of diabetes. As we can see, I'm going fast. I'm making it as simple as possible. So if you want me to get sophisticated when you come with your questions, we'll do that. The complications of diabetes are enormous. And if you really care for your patients, whenever you see a patient with diabetes, whether it's mild diabetes, whether it's treated or untreated, as a physician or a nurse, what's in your head is what's going to happen to this patient 10, 15, 25 years from now if the diabetes is not controlled. Mainly because the damages that are done are irreversible, period. You are blind from diabetes, you're going to remain blind. You're on dialysis because of diabetes complications, you're going to remain on dialysis. You have lost 2 limbs, 2 of your lower legs because of poor management of diabetes, that's not going to go back. So the lesson I'm trying to teach you is that the earlier you can manage your diabetes, the earlier you can prevent the complications, the better off the patient outcome is. Now, when you tell a patient you have diabetes as a physician, the patient looks at you as if you're crazy, basically. They look at you as if, where do you get this diabetes from? I do not have diabetes. They're thinking ahead of having to take medication all their lives, of having to develop complications of diabetes. So many times they will leave the office in denial. Many times they will not come back until you, as an experienced physician, you put that patient on the side to say to yourself, you know what, this patient is not going to come back. I am going to call this patient once a week until that patient comes back. So when you know the denial is a major part. And I will tell you, I don't have the statistics to prove this, I would say a good 60 to 70 patients on diabetes, they really do not take it seriously for multiple reasons. One is lack of understanding. They don't have the support to explain it to them all the time. They don't have the support of reinforcement. And there is what you call self-care management, which is very important, that don't have the exposure to. I mean, someone with diabetes wasn't born to know how to manage diabetes. So there needs to be a support as if you, for anything else. As a nurse, you go in, you get your education, they train you. As a doctor, you get education and they train you. The same thing is true for somebody who has a severe disease. The education has to be there. It has to be continuous, non-stop. Treatment for diabetes. Diet, diet, diet. Losing weight, losing weight, losing weight. Exercise, exercise, exercise. These are the major components of the treatment of diabetes, and this is where we are lacking big time. Let's start with diet. Now, we are from the islands, a lot of us. We up and about eating rice and beans and all that sugar stuff every day. That's part of the culture. We are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, and we develop diabetes. Now, asking you to stop eating the good stuff or the bad stuff overnight, it's not going to happen. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen. We are going to continue eating the rice and the beans and the plantains and whatever comes along with it. So diet being the most important part of the treatment of diabetes is probably the hardest to achieve. Okay, I had the privilege of working for a Jewish company. They call it Doctors on Call. I was a medical director there. And what we do, or what we used to do, is go into patients' homes, do the physical exam, do chest x-ray, do EKG, and teach them everything else. Basically, instead of the patient coming to us for the care, we go to their home to provide the care to them. But I learned lessons from there that I've never learned in my life or my practice of medicine. You go to this patient's home, everybody's smoking, the fridge is loaded with cakes, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, whatever else, loaded with sugar. Thirdly, that person with diabetes living in the house may not be working, and the only source of food for that person is the food that is in the fridge. So you're telling a patient who's not working, have no money, to eat vegetables and salads. That person cannot buy that kind of stuff, and they have cakes and Pepsi and pizza in the fridge. That's what the person is going to eat. They have no other choice. So a lot of stuff that we know are very important to treat diabetes. A lot of it is achievable. A lot of it, to be realistic is not achievable. Okay? So the diet, we have covered that. Losing weight is another one. As I just mentioned earlier, obesity is one of the causes of diabetes. and losing weight is difficult for multiple reasons. As we get older, the metabolism slow down, and some of us, as I said earlier, don't have access to food. There is culture, there is habits, there is being able to maintain the cost of eating the proper kind of food is not easy at all. And I'm sure that all of us know that. The third component is exercise. How long do we exercise? We exercise for 3 months and we stop, or 6 months and we stop, or we don't do it at all. So I am displaying here a condition for which the treatment is very difficult. It's very difficult. Now, let me squeeze in here that we in America, we spend more money on medications for the treatment of hypertension and diabetes and high cholesterol. But at the end of the day, the outcome is very poor. If you're comparing data from Europe and data from Australia and data from the United States, the outcome is very poor here. That tells you that money, the amount of medications that you have, the quality of medications that you have is not the answer to the game. The answer is what we do locally, the diet, the losing weight, the exercise, the change in behavior, the change in attitude. That's what will make the difference. The rest is really out there. So when you look at medication for diabetes, I can fill that desk here with medication. Fill it up with medications, much more than I can count, much more than I can remember. And they're very expensive. Very, very, very expensive. Yet again, we're not doing a very good job. There was a time only 35% of patients with diabetes who were receiving medication had a normal blood sugar. 35%. Yeah? And yet it depends on where you're referring to. Yeah, are you talking about Brooklyn or Chicago or a different state? Different places you go to, you're going to find different results. But the numbers are not good. Are not good. So we can blame a lot of stuff for that. Doctors are doing the best that they could. Nurses are not doing the best that they could. If you want to refer a patient to a nutritionist as a doctor, it cannot be done. The nutritionists are only in the hospital these days. Forget about the dietitian. So the support system is not there. So there are a lot of limitations in terms of what can be done. Now, is there a cure for diabetes? No, but there was a lot of work being done in that regard. The genetic science really is very promising in the way that you can splice the genes and do a lot of nice stuff. I am sure at some time in the future, we are going to be able to solve that problem with diabetes, and that will save a lot of money, that will cut down a lot of pain, a lot of suffering that patients are going through. Now, let's look into self-care management. Now, I am of the belief that doctors really do 5% in the patient's treatment. The other 95% depends on the patient, really. Okay, the patient comes to you, spend 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour in some cases. You talk and you talk and you talk and you talk, and the patient goes home. The patient has the ability, capacity to apply what you tell the patients to do. Likewise, the patient has the ability, capacity not to do what the doctor asks the patients to do. So how much as a physician, as a clinician, you empower the patient to change the norms? That's what matters. I'll tell my patients, listen, this is teamwork. I'll tell you about the disease. I'll educate you each time you come. I'll tell you about the medication, but the rest is in your hands. The rest is in your hands. If you come in, I give you the medication, you don't take them, nothing is going to happen. So the door shuts down right there. But if you go home, you understand what I told you to do, you apply it on a daily basis, that's where the 95% come from. And in this way, everybody wins, okay? And I apply the medicine of trying to make the patient self-sufficient. Be responsible for what you do. I am not responsible. I don't know what you do when you go home. You be responsible for what you do, and the outcome is going to be in your hand. I even tell them, I know you will have diabetes. I know some of you like a piece of cake. Some of you like a piece of cheesecake or whatnot, whatever you like. If one day in a month you take a little piece of that stuff you eat, that's not going to kill you. Besides the fact that I know you're going to do it anyway, I am just giving you permission to do a little bit of it. And patients enjoy that. You put them in charge. And I think the problem has been for so long, doctors and nurses, we've been telling patients what to do this, do that, do this, do that, as if we have the responsibility and they have nothing to do with it. Okay? Changing the tide work. I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to support you. But the rest, the responsibility is you. If you want to fail, you are going to fail. And if you want to win, you are going to win. And where you get stuck in between, as they will get stuck in between, I am going to be here to support you. And I think it's as simple as that. Now, the management of diabetes when it comes to the medications, let me go back to that. It's kind of sophisticated because there are different types of medications. They don't work the same way. They're not to be taken at the same time. Some patients are on insulin. There are different types of insulin. All that complexity we can deal with. But I believe the most important factor is what is the path? How does the doctor, the nurse, and the patient walk down the road together to succeed? Now, the government is measuring very well, by the way. It has taken a long time. Let me say the state of New York, very well in looking at how doctors are doing. They are able to see how often the doctor does the hemoglobin A1C. It's supposed to be done every 3 months or 4 months, number one. Number two, is the hemoglobin A1C less than 7, which is the goal? The government can see that. And the cholesterol, is the LDL less than 100? Are you monitoring for kidney diseases because the patient has diabetes? I am very comfortable in saying that though we don't have a cure, but we do have abilities and tools to manage diabetes. We do have the tools. How we use the tools, that's what makes the difference. How we empower the patients, that's what makes the difference. I think I am going to stop right here. I don't know if I have overgone the 15 minutes, but I'll be very happy to take a few questions.
We can use the reaction and put your hands up and so that we could acknowledge you. And Melissa, can you help me to look in the chat to see? We don't have the chat, but we look at the reaction, so you can just click on it and raise your hand if you have any questions for the doctor.
Okay, I do see one hand. I'm trying to see who that is. I'm sorry, I can't.
So we have Ms. Flato, and then we have Delia.
Okay, so this
Go
is
ahead, Ms.
Delia.
Flato. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having this session. Very interested, and thank you, Dr. Simon. My question is, in terms of the A1C, what is the correct number for the A1C?
That's a very loaded question. I'll simplify it. For patients between the age of, let's say, young age to the age of 70, you want it to be less than 7. Less than 7 is the number. 6.5 is the ideal number that you need so that if there is a slip up, you can go from 6.5 to 6.7 to 6.8. But less than 7 is what you're looking for. Now, in patients who are older, we have to be careful because high sugar is less detrimental than low sugar. If somebody has a very low sugar and the person is very old, they have the tendency to develop a stroke or a heart attack. So at that high age, you try to be very conservative. If the hemoglobin A1C is 7.5, 7.8, you don't go and squeeze that patient too much to bring it down to 7 because you don't want them to develop a coma or a stroke or something like that. So less than 7 is the answer.
Okay, so pre-diabetic then, what is the range?
Well, pre-diabetes is described as a hemoglobin A1C of 5.8. 5.8, you pre-diabetic. And that's a very good question because this is where the doctors, the nurses can really make a very big difference. Once somebody has 5.8, you don't have diabetes, but you know it's going to come if you don't change your behavior. So once it reaches 5.8, I'm sorry, you tell the patient, do all these things. Exercise, cut down on carbohydrates, cut down on lipids, lose some weight, and eventually you'll see over time the hemoglobin A1C goes down to 5.4, 5.5, and that's where you want them to be. Okay.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Ms. Flato?
Yes, just a quick question about diabetes and Black males. I noticed, especially in my own family, it seems to be hereditary and it seems to be more prevalent with males. Is that true, or is that just my own personal observation?
Well, if you look at the data around the world, there are some groups of people who are likely to develop diabetes, and Black males is one of that group. Diabetes is very rampant among the Indians, the American Indians, and the Pima Indians. Very, very rampant. If you look at in Europe, for example, you don't find that many diabetic patients. So that is there. In the Black population, for sure, the Black males, they are really predisposed, I use the word predisposed to develop diabetes, especially if the mother or father or both have diabetes. It's almost guaranteed if you have 4 males in the family, at least 2 or 3 of them will develop diabetes. That's just the way it is, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Melissa?
Yes. Hi, Dr. Simon. So
Hi.
I had a question about the different tests that are out there. So you mentioned the A1C, but I've also come across the blood glucose and something called fructosamine. Just wanted to know, like, what is the difference between those and which one is, more reliable? Because one is saying that I might be pre-diabetic and the other is saying not, and it's very confusing.
You guys are asking very good questions. I don't know where you get them from, but they are really excellent questions. Now, before we had hemoglobin A1C, we had the blood glucose that we're still using. But the blood glucose tells you what's happening now. And that's not efficient in a way that patients used to eat whatever they want for about 3 months. And when they come in to see the doctor, they eat very little. So that when they come to see you, the blood sugar is going to be 150, which is high, by the way. But if you wanted to catch that patient the week before, the sugar could have been 300. Okay? So patients were very sneaky in the way that they eat before coming to see you. The hemoglobin A1C changes that big time. It looks at your blood sugar over the last 3 months. How does it do that? When you have a lot of sugar in the body, it binds to a protein. It binds to the protein. That protein happens to be hemoglobin. It's bind to this. And hemoglobin has a very long half-life. So over a span of 3 times, the sugar that is attached to the hemoglobin is going to stay there. It's going to stay there. So when the patient comes to see you, you do the hemoglobin A1C, the blood sugar you see is an average of the last 3 months. So that patient could not cheat on you. because the hemoglobin A1C says if it's 10, this patient has not been doing anything, just eating and not taking the medications, period. If it is 12, if it is 14 and 15, that tells you the situation is worse and you have a tough situation in your hands. How are you going to educate this patient? How are you going to bring that patient to be doing the right thing? That's a major challenge. Those numbers, they speak for themselves. The fructosamine test is very important. And actually, people don't usually ask that question, by the way. Are you in the medical field?
No, so I have sickle cell, and I
There
think
you go.
that's the
There you
reason why they did that test.
There
Yes.
you go. There you go. There you
So
go.
you'll explain.
There you go. Now, sickle cell happens to be a disease where there is low hemoglobin, right?
Right.
Hemoglobin. So we just said that the glucose attaches itself to become hemoglobin A1C. Okay? So that if you have low hemoglobin to start with, you cannot use hemoglobin as a reference point anymore. So it will mislead you. So those patients for whom we use hemoglobin A1C is going to show that they have diabetes when they don't have diabetes. Okay, that's what it does. So you have to use fructosamine, which has nothing to do with that. Okay, the fructosamine is going to be the level that it is because it doesn't go down, such as hemoglobin A1C. So patients with sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, those conditions, we use fructosamine, and it's a very good test to let you know where those patients are going with their diabetes. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you for that.
Good.
Thank you, Melissa. Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Doctor, first of all, thank you. I think this is great information. The one question I guess I have is well, but when you're talking about the A1C, since it's a look back going over a couple of months. So if you're trying to do the right thing and do better, like how long before you would actually start seeing results in terms of a decrease in the number, or seeing a trend going in the right direction? I mean, like if you go, you think you're doing well, but the number's not moving fast enough, or I mean, when would you expect to see results?
That's another good question. On the average, you wait for 3 months, okay? Because the change occurs over a span of 3 months. So if you want to look for an efficient result, you give them 3 months. But if you have a patient who's not doing the right thing and you put them on medication, you can do the hemoglobin A1C every month to see which way they're going. You may not see much of a change, but basically at least it's not going to be going up. It may stay where it is over 1 month, 2 months or so, and that makes you feel comfortable that maybe you're making segue with that patient. But overall, 3 months is the cutoff. Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, we'll take one more. Kim?
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for all that information. It was very, very, very informative. So I just had an A1C test and the result said I'm at 6.1. Is there another test I should be taking? Or a different one?
I'm waiting till you address the phone.
Sorry, I'm trying to, my alarm, sorry.
The hemoglobin A1C now is the best test that we have on the market. I am aware of a couple of tests that manufacturers are working on, which are more efficient than the hemoglobin A1C, but that's what we have. Now you mentioned your hemoglobin A1C is 6.1. You haven't had diabetes.
Right.
You haven't had diabetes.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, so you need to take care of yourself, as I said earlier, your diet. You cut down the glucose, the carbohydrates. The carbohydrates is really, I don't want to say poison, because if I say that, that would be too much. But it's not that much of a good thing. The body loves glucose. The body loves sugar. But too much of it is going to cause a problem. And it does. You cut down your sugar And I guarantee you, if you cut down your sugar, you're going to lose on the average, 1 pound every 2 weeks. At least 1 pound every 2 weeks by just cutting down the sugar. Of course.
Can I hold you to that?
You can hold me to that. You can hold me to that because I see it all the time. You cut down on the rice, you cut down on the on all the sweet stuff you eat in the morning. Okay. You lose 1 to 2 pounds per week, and I'm being generous here. It may even be more than that. And if you exercise,
I'll take it.
Yeah, if you exercise 3 times a week for 30 minutes, you're good to go. That hemoglobin A1C over the span of 3 months, hold me to it, is going to go down to 5.6. Okay, 5.6. It will go down. It doesn't take magic to make these things happen. It doesn't take magic at all. It takes the know-how, which is simple. No, you know what not to do, and then put things in application, and boom, you go. Boom, you go.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, Mr. Chair, I do hope that you're listening. So we're starting next week, right? We're starting working again next week.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, I know this is such good information. I'm telling you, it's awesome. I just want to share with you guys how much this information is so good because in 2017, my husband, I went away to a wedding in Antigua, and unknowing to me, he was in the house and he had a stroke for 3 days in the house by himself. And when I came back, I was talking to him on the phone and I didn't know, he didn't say anything to me. And I was scheduled to come back the Tuesday, and then he had the stroke the Saturday, and he didn't go to the doctor, he didn't call and do anything, and he stayed in the house with it. And I came and I took him to the hospital. He was treated and everything. He went home, and then all of a sudden, then his joints, his fingers, and everything started hurting. His joints started swelling, and we didn't know what happened. Took him to one of the side doctors, the clinics, and then they said, okay, he have rheumatoid arthritis. So they sent him to one of the hospitals, and they started giving him prednisone for the pain. And then I just see his pattern of going to the bathroom just change, and then it's just like everything changed, and I'm like, what is happening? And I told him something is wrong. You need to go back to the doctor. And when he went back to the doctor and he checked, his sugar was 600.
Wow.
And then it was like, it was just like something. And then the doctor said, hey, you know what? The prednisone, that's what caused the elevation of the sugar. And so when it comes to, so I'm listening very keenly to everyone and to what you were saying because of the diet, because his appetite controls him. So he don't know how to control his appetite. And it went to a place where when I tested his sugar, there was no reading.
Wow.
No reading. The sugar was so high that the machine could not read the sugar at all. And when I took him to the clinic, they wanted to say, we are calling 911, we're going to send you to the hospital right away. You need to be at the hospital because there was no reading. Even at the doctor's office, there was no reading, and they were so concerned that they wanted to send him to the hospital. But he was still been struggling with the rheumatoid arthritis, and then the sugar has taken a toll. And for those of you, the men who are listening, and those who have brothers and husbands or whatever, for the wives out there, and if your husband hasn't gone to that stage as yet, and they're not listening to you, I have friends in the police department. You can hit them across the head with a stick. Hit them across the head so that they can listen. Because it is so hard to sit there and then to see a loved one just deteriorate because the sugar just took a toll on his body.
Right.
The sugar just rip him off, and then I myself, I just watch him. I'm like, is this the same person? Because he weighs 200. He used to weigh 230 something pounds, 6'1", and his weight now is 188. because the sugar just took a toll, took a toll on him. And so it's just like he has so much going with him because he has the side effects from the stroke. Then he's dealing with the rheumatoid arthritis. Then he's dealing with the sugar. He have problem with his hip. He have high blood pressure. She name it, and it's just taking a toll on him. And I'm like, it's only because of the grace of God. He's just walking around, and he walks around with his sugar 300. It just doesn't stay balanced because when he takes the medication, the metformin, it makes him sick. It makes him nauseous. So he can't continue. So they just give him a new set, so it's so important. And I've known people in which I approve for myself that when your sugar, and doctor, you could correct me if I'm wrong, it's like, it craves sugar. It's like he's just craving to eat sweet stuff, and I keep saying, you need to stop drinking the soda, you need to stop eating candy. And it's a fight. It's a fight. So I'm so happy that for this message now, and for those of you who just borderline, even for me, you spoke about cheesecake. I'm a cheesecake lover, so I try not to put, it's a temptation, so I just don't have it in the house at all. So I don't keep it in the house, so I don't drink. So my body now start rejecting sweets. So if I drink anything with too much sugar, I cannot take it, so I start rejecting it. So it is very important that we take care of our body. And men, please do take care of your body, because it is not a good thing for your wives to sit there. And many a days I tell my husband, I'll just throw you out the window, because he gets me so mad because he's just not following and just trying to control, his appetite. So I am so thankful for this message, that this presentation this evening.
Let me give you an advice for your husband. Have him see an endocrinologist, and they can put an insulin pump for him. The pump will allow the insulin to be given to him without all the frustration that he's facing right now. Okay, this works very, very well, and I think he's a very good candidate for that. All right.
Okay.
I don't have.
Okay. What I would like you to do, if you can put, I'll get your number from Miss Plateau, so I can call you.
It's on the flyer. It's on the flyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of you have access to that. Yeah.
I'll send it to you, Francisco. I'll send it to you, and it has his office number and address on it as well. I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I thank you very much. I have one more. I'm gonna take one more before we move to our cooking segment. I'll take one more question from Mr. Burke, who is our second vice chair. Okay, so Ms. Jennings, so I just take two, and then we'll move on. That's the last two. Let's move on.
Thank you,
Go ahead,
Francisco.
Mr. Burke.
Hi. Number one, this is a great gathering, as well as the cooking. I just wanted to report on a meeting I had today at King County Hospital. I'm the chairman of their advisory board. Francesca is the first vice chair, but they did delineate that a lot of strokes are on the uprise. And my interpretation is that that's really from eating and diabetes and everything else. So the only thing I'd like to pass on is, let's take this cooking segment, very seriously, because that's the way to good health, that and exercise. Thank you, Francesca.
Yes.
Thank you, Warren. Last one, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Simon, for that very informative presentation. I work also along with our diabetes and prediabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol patients at our facility. And one thing Dr. Simon mentioned is education. It's the key to helping our population see how they can take control in their care. So I would just like to know, Dr. Simon, is there any good resources or tool that you use to keep your patients motivated to stay in control?
Well, one thing I do, I use the plate planner. I don't know if you've seen the plate planner, which was designed by New York City. You can Google it, the plate planner. And I believe it was ingenious of the person who thought about that. You know, in the past, when somebody tells you, Doc, what should I be eating? And you say, well, eat this, it has 2,000 calories, that one has 50 calories, this one has 1,000,000 calories. I could never keep up with that. It was too complicated. So when you have a chance, you can Google the plate planner from New York City. It will show you a plate that is divided into 3 portions. Half of the plate should have salads and vegetables. A quarter should have a little bit of starch, whatever starch you like, and the other quarter should be lean meat, which is the opposite of what we do. We eat half of the plate is rice, the other half may be chicken. So that's the purpose. Half of it should be salad and vegetable, the other 1/4 for starch, the other quarter for lean meat. That's all you need to know, whether you are diabetic, whether you are hypertensive, whether you're normal, whether you abnormal, that's all you need to know. The stories about portions, you can throw that away, because you won't be able to remember that stuff. And if you use the portion for a month, then you're going to forget it. But you never forget, divide your plate into 3 and do the right thing. That's actually what I do.
Okay, thank you.
I post the boss with a screen and I have them take a picture of it. I said, go home, show it to your husband, show it to your wife. Tell them this is how I need to eat. Post it on the fridge. And I have found that to be very effective, beside other things.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Dr. Simon, I know everyone online right now on this space right now, they share my sentiment. It was just awesome. And I thank Ms. Plateau so much for having you here with us. It was just so awesome. And our next segment in June, I'm hoping that you can make it again, because we'll still be sharing on men's health. You know, we still have some more discussion on men's health and prostate cancer and stuff like that. So I hope that you'll be able to grace us with your presence. This was excellent, right on time information for us. So, so right now we will be moving into the other segment of the healthy cooking. And now I will turn the floor over to Enid.
Thank you so much, everyone. Before we get into our cooking, I just want to thank Janine Aline for coming this evening. And I want her to just give a little bit more, just a tad bit of how people can communicate and get in touch with her. She works in Kingsbrook at One Brooklyn Health Diabetes Prevention Program. So there might be persons who might need her assistance, and she'll give you her contact information and just give a little shout out as to what she does there.
Okay, hi everyone, good evening again. Thank you, Enid. As she says, my name is Janine Allen, and I'm one of the health coach at Kingsbrook. And my role there, as I mentioned a little bit before, I work along with our primary care doctors and also specialty doctors to help our patients to make behavioral changes, as was mentioned, to their diet and exercise, to make good choices, to incorporate those habits to help to control or lower whatever conditions they're dealing with. One such condition is the prediabetes. We offer a program that's been coordinated by the CDC, and this helps our patient to see how they could lower their weight at least by 5 to 7%, and also to lower those A1C numbers that was mentioned earlier before. We are currently running this workshop. One is scheduled to be started on the 16th of April, and it's a year-long program. But throughout that program, it helps these participants to take control, to monitor how they're eating, to make healthier choices, to problem solve, to also to take notes of where they were and what they are able to achieve. If if it's not as easy as was mentioned before by Dr. Simon, it's never an easy task to change what you're accustomed to. We, throughout this program and this platform, we use the opportunity to support each other on experiences that others might have success in gaining or controlling their A1C number. My contact number to reach me at is 917-624-1042. That's my personal cell, and my office line is 718-604-5447. Again, my name is Janine Allen, and I'm one of the health coach at Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Center.
Thanks so much, Janine. And at this time, everyone, if you need any additional information, please just put it in the chat, and we'll make sure to get it for you. But at this time, we want to get to our cooking. And we have a very, very special young lady who happens to be my assistant at Kingsbrook at One Brooklyn Health. And she is, what should I say, a master of many things. Tahisha Salages is a young chef, wife and mother in Brooklyn, New York, who is best known for her Caribbean fusion influences in her dishes with bold and flavorful spices of the West Indies. Featured on ABC's daytime show, The Chew, Tahisha won Best Wing Recipe, and then was shortly after that invited back to showcase her baked macaroni au gratin, a Haitian side dish, French-inspired mac and cheese recipe with a rich bacchanal sauce. Tahisha was mostly mentored and culinary trained since the age of 8 by her grandmother, Vesta Nelson, who raised her, a former chef of a popular resort in Haiti. After obtaining her college degree in healthcare administration and have worked in the field for a few years, Tahisha continued to grow and demonstrated her passion for culinary arts and the world of hospitality. She secured great relationships with talented chefs along the way who mentored her, including celebrity chefs like Carla Hall, adding to her culinary repertoire of Caribbean fusion and her spin on traditional Haitian recipes. So without further ado, everyone, please welcome Tahisha Salages.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Can everybody hear me well?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So once again, thank you so much, Enid, for that introduction. So I'm super happy and excited. Happy Holy Thursday for all my Christians out there. I have prepared something to teach you guys that I know a lot of our Caribbean folks like to eat, but I'm gonna do a little more of a healthy spin-off. Especially tomorrow is Holy Friday or Good Friday, or like a lot of Haitians like to call it Vendredi Saint. So we like to eat fish, right? So a lot of times, sometimes we like to fry the fish, or, make sure it's deep fried and more fried. And then we do the white rice with the white beans and the betterave which is the beets, and all those other good things that may taste good, but not always good for the body. I know this because obviously I was raised in a Haitian household, and being raised in a Haitian Christian household, we ate on Friday and we went to church. So, however, growing up as myself, as I'm still on the journey of eating better and just cooking, I cook a lot, obviously, but there were a lot of things that I learned to swap out of my recipes, such as like Maggi and those processed bouillon cubes for more fresh herbs, more better approach, step by step. So today we're going to be cooking some wild-caught salmon on a bed of a steamed spinach with a lot of garlic. And we're gonna learn how to create this wonderful seasoning that doesn't require much salt at all, that is very healthy for you, and that can also help you in many different ways. And I'm sure if our practitioner, our doctor's still here, and Janine, which is our health coach, you can always chime in anytime. So you guys ready?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. All right, so
just before you continue, I just want to let everybody know that you can, if you want to see the full screen with the cooking, you can just go in and just do speak view on the side on your screen, so you can have the full screen. Instead of seeing it, you just the little box. So just go on the top right corner where it says view, and you just click on it, and then you just click on speak view. So you'll just have her all the way up on your screen. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry for the disturbance.
No problem. So our hands are clean, we're gonna get straight to the nitty gritty and straight to the cooking. So here I have some salmon, all right, skin off, just less fat. It's a nice clean piece of salmon. And salmon doesn't have to be expensive really, okay, because one of the things that our doctor did point is food access. And I think it's learning how to shop smart, where you don't really have to break the bank to eat healthy. What mostly I find most expensive is when we purchase processed foods that are trying to be healthy, but all they really have is a whole bunch of processed ingredients. It's actually better and actually more affordable just to eat more fresh. So I'm gonna start with 2 pieces of salmon. Here you go. You can do farm raised or wild caught. It's really up to you. The only difference, well, the biggest difference I can say with wild caught and farm raised salmon, the first thing is you can tell the difference between the color. A lot of time farm raised is a little bit more bland and white, and a wild caught is usually more pink, and you have more of that fishy, that delicious fishy taste, not in a bad way, but in a good way. So being that I come from a Caribbean background, Haitian American, I always like to spice things. Now you could generally do some salt and pepper if that's your type of flair. But if we're gonna Caribbean up, as I know most of my the viewers are here, we're gonna add some flair to it. So what I'm gonna start with, if you don't have one of these at home, we call it a pilon, okay? And so I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna start my base for seasoning. So I have here half a lemon.
Mortar and pesto.
I'm sorry?
I said mortar and pesto.
Yes, or mortar and pestle, exactly. Different languages, different, they call it differently. You know, I think most, if you go like on Amazon, you can search it as a pesto and you'll find it. So what we're gonna do is but you can also call it a pilon as well, because this is what it is. So in here, I'm going to crush some garlic. Now you can crush garlic both ways. You can crush it in here, or you can just put your knife over it and give it a nice slam. And what that does, it takes the skin off. So I'm just gonna do that one more time so you can see what I did. Have a clove of garlic, you put your knife over it and you just give it a good smash. So this way it's not messing up with your, sorry about that, okay. So here I have, what is going on? I guess my ring light wants to cook too. Anyway, so I'm gonna have about 3 cloves of garlic, okay? So in this 3 cloves of garlic, I'm just gonna put it, you could do this in a food processor because I know this is what we like to use nowadays. We're just gonna give it a nice little mash. So in here, remember I have just some lemon so it doesn't stick to the bottom. You could put this in a food processor as well, okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm gonna start putting some herbs and seasoning into this and I'm going to continue to crush it. Okay, so in here, I have some Italian seasoning. Now, Italian seasoning is a great way to put all the herbs in your dish without having to, if you're a fresh herb person just like me, that's fine. But if you don't have the time, you can just go to your local grocery, get a little bottle of Italian seasoning. And what it is, it's a beautiful blend of herbs, okay? You have your parsley, you have your thyme, you have rosemary, you have basil. All these wonderful, fragrantful herbs are in that one little bottle. So what you can do, you put about 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning for 2 pieces of fish. And then in here, I also have some Cajun seasoning, the low sodium Cajun seasoning that you can also find in your local grocery. Okay. And here I just blend it together. I just mix it together with a spoon. So this is what it looks like. I always like to have these little mason jars available because they're great for you to just make your own little spice blends. Okay. So I have some Cajun seasoning, about 1 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning and 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put about 1 tablespoon of the mixture together. And I'm going to add about a half a tablespoon of ginger, ground ginger. Now, ginger has a lot of health benefits. Diabetes, hypertension, it's just so many health benefits, sinuses, and etc. You could always speak to your provider, to your medical practitioner, your provider, to see if that would be good for you. But it has so many benefits that I cook it, I use a lot of things. I use anything I'm doing, I put ginger in it. So if I'm doing oatmeal, I put ginger, fish. It's just such a great herb. It's just So, and a little kick it has to it, you know, it gives the spice. If you don't want to use a bonnet pepper, this is an also great alternative. And last but not least, a little secret ingredient that I have is cinnamon. So cinnamon is not just good for baking, but it's also good for all your savory dishes. So I have about a teaspoon of that. And it's what this is gonna do is gonna form like a little paste as you continue to crush it. So here I am just having fun with it. Okay, guys, it's a Holy Thursday, amen, okay. I don't know why my ring light is acting up, but it's okay. You guys can see me, right? Okay, so I'm gonna show you what this looks like in a minute now. And I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, to kind of give it that paste. And a little bit more lemon juice. And you're gonna continue to crush it. Gonna give that nice paste that you need. Crush it, have fun with it, burn some calories while you're cooking. Okay, all right. All right, here we go. If you could only smell the flavors, oh my gosh, it is divine, okay? All right, so now traditionally in a Caribbean household, or even I should say Haitian household, we have a blended mix of herbs and spices that we use called épis. Now, this traditional blend is usually consists of parsley, celery. It's very healthy really, except when it has all that oil, but you can do it many different ways you want. You can put some bonnet pepper, pimento pepper, olive oil, garlic. But I always find putting the ingredients together right before you put it on the protein or the vegetable, it really makes a difference. So right here, I have this mash, if you guys can see it, okay? So what I'm gonna do with my clean hands, I'm just gonna dress the fish with it. And I'm gonna rub the fish and I'll show you how that looks. If I can adjust this camera here. There we go. All right, perfect. And so I'm just gonna rub this into the fish back and front. You rub it in there. And you have all of that goodness just sit. So generally when I do this at home or for a party, whatever, I would have it sit in a bowl and overnight, put a plastic wrap over it. And what that does is just have all the flavors going in there and it tastes really good. It just tastes really good. So now cinnamon is gonna give it a different flair, but it's gonna taste so good and you'll see why I added the cinnamon. It's gonna pair well with something else that we're gonna be using. So once you have dressed your salmon, you put it in a bowl. I'm gonna wipe my hands here. Do not want to throw all this out. I'm gonna use everything. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is, all right, so I'm gonna let this rest and I'm just gonna flip this over, okay? And I'm gonna wash my hands and I'll be right back. So anybody have any questions while I talk? I can hear you.
Thank you for reminding me. I have a jar of épis in my fridge that I need to use. Thank you so much. I'm cooking while you're cooking.
Good. Very good, very good. So what we're gonna do now, what makes this recipe so super simple, salmon is very versatile. You can do it any way you want. You can grill it, you can bake it, you can saute it, you can do anything really you want. But the reason why I chose this dish is because it's easy, it's simple, because usually you would need two sides to go with it, you know, one or two sides. So I'm going to show you how to toss everything in a pan. Now you have dressed the main dish, which is the salmon, or I could say the main component of the dish, which is the salmon. We're going to use some fresh spinach, okay, that we have here that's already washed, or you could use frozen, whichever. And we're gonna put this in a little bit of olive oil, and I'm gonna show you how to compose this dish together. Once you have the salmon that is already resting or in your fridge, you can put it in the freezer, and anytime you want some, you just take a piece out and do it. You could even put it in a food processor and create little patties with it and put it in the oven if you want. It's just so super versatile, super easy to make. And you know, it's fancy, right? If you want to do fancy at a midday lunch or a fancy snack, or just celebrate Good Friday, right? This is just a great way where you don't have to do the fish with the flour and the you know, grease flying everywhere. So this is just a simple way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the stove and I'm going to heat up my pan, which is already starting to heat up. Now I'm pretty loud. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to have 1 to 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in this hot pan. How do I know it's 1 to 2 tablespoons? Because I've been doing this for years. How do you know? Use a spoon, or you can swiggle it 2 times. Each swivel is usually a tablespoon. But you should know your hand. I don't know how you do it, but you could know how you do it. But always use a measuring spoon if you need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this to be hot, and I'm just going to put the fish in there, and I'm going to cover it. And what that's going to do, we're going to steam it. Okay, that's the first thing. Make sure all the seasoning is in there. Now, the Cajun seasoning, low sodium Cajun seasoning, you could even make your own. It's paprika, ground cinnamon. You can make your own really. It's so many different ingredients to it. And what we're gonna do with this now, we're gonna take the spinach and we're gonna cover the fish. It's like a fish lasagna, but everything's gonna come together. I can already smell the garlic. It is amazing. Okay, if you guys could just smell it. And I'll take the camera to the pan so you can see it. But while this is cooking on one side, I'm gonna take the spinach and I'm gonna cover the fish. And what that's gonna do is all the flavor that's in the fish is gonna soak down. It's also gonna flavor the spinach as well. Can you say mmm? Mmm?
Mmm.
All right. So I am just adding all the spinach here. And I'm a garlic lover, so I put 3 cloves of garlic because it's also to flavor the spinach as well. So while that's happening, I'm gonna take some onions. So we eat with our eyes. So what we're doing is we're building the dish from the pan. As we're building the components of the dish, it's gonna really look pretty, it's gonna taste good, and it's good for you. So I have some onions here. That I'm just gonna sliver a little bit here. And I have some red peppers. You can cut them however you want. A little tip, no matter what you're cutting, if you want the flavor to be stronger, you cut them smaller. If you don't want the flavor to be that strong, you cut it bigger, especially for garlic. So definitely make sure you know what your palate likes. Like my husband, for example, right? He doesn't like too much onion, so I'll cut them a little bit big and I'll make sure that they saute a little bit. And he's like, oh, this is so good. I'm like, geez, I don't even know what I put in there. Hold on a second. So we have the onions, we have the garlic, we have the red peppers and the green peppers, and we have all that cooking. And I'll take you to see how it's going to look here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, that looks great.
Awesome. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cover it. And while that covers, what that's gonna do is all that steam is gonna come up and it's going to just cook. Salmon is also something that is very easy to cook and it cooks fast. So you don't want to overcook it because that's going to dry your salmon, and you don't want to undercook it, then it's going to be raw. So, so the best thing to do is to make sure that you cover it, because we're not frying the salmon, we're steaming it. There's a big difference there. And you can even bake this salmon. If we had more time, I would have baked it, because what you want, it's just like a lasagna. On a day that you don't want to cook, you just take some pieces of salmon, you put it in this pan, like a pan like this. You put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom, extra virgin preferably. And then after that, you put the salmon that's already seasoned to your desired preference. You put some spinach. You can put any type of vegetables or greens that you desire. So we're gonna go right here. We're gonna just check on it. We're gonna blow the fire. So all this steam is going on right here. Just take you to see how it's gonna be. Okay. And so here we're just gonna turn it a little bit. As you can tell, I'm gonna just flip the camera so you can see all this. We're not on TV today, so I have to be my own producer. But
I see you doing good.
Yeah. Thank you. Are you guys ready for the reveal of one side of salmon that has been steamed?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we're looking like.
Ooh.
Looks good.
So did we have to fry? Not at all. So now it really helps to cover. And here we go. So right now what you have all those flavors from the fish now sitting on top of the spinach. So what that's going to do, all the juices that we just marinated, the cinnamon, the garlic, the Cajun seasoning, everything is just gonna seep down into the spinach. Is really gonna give it some good flavor. All that ginger is gonna give it a little kick, not too much. And if you are a spicy fanatic, you can always add a little bonnet pepper. But I don't want a bonnet pepper today, so. But you could even add it to your ippies if you want, which is just a blended version of what I did, or you can process it in a food processor. Now, let's just say that your dish is getting a little bit dry for whatever reason. You can always add a little bit of water just to stimulate the steaming process, and you're gonna cover it again. So here we go. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Not even like a quarter cup, okay? So, and you're just gonna cover this again, and you're gonna let the other side cook.
Now, the steaming keeps more of the vitamins in the spinach, correct? In the vegetables?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. So let me share this with you. Number one, when you put your protein, it's important to put it in a hot pan. Why? Because you do something called searing it. You seal all the juices inside the protein. So if my pan was not hot and I didn't hear that shh, right? So what happened is all the juices will seep out, and it's going to make your protein, such as a salmon, very dry. Just like if you have a piece of steak, or you want to do a portobello mushroom, or whatever you want to lock the moisture in, you have to commence with a hot oil or a hot base, hot pan. It doesn't always have to be hot oil. You can do like a hot non-stick pan. However, the heat locks in all the juices inside the protein. And you'll see that when we're cutting it and we're tasting it, even though you guys can't really taste it unless you're cooking it with me, but you can always duplicate it at home, and you'll see that is a secret to keeping all your meats, your fish, your protein moist. The key is when you put it in that pan, that the pan is hot. It's hot enough. So when you put it in there, it sears all the juices inside the protein and doesn't leak out. Even when it's resting, after you cut it, like let's say we're doing steak or something like that, or another piece of fish or something like that, when you cut it, you can see the juices flowing out because it's been resting. So that's just a little tip if you don't ever want to have dry salmon. So, all right, so we're gonna check back again. And now this is what's going on here. As you can tell, I have some of the juices from the spinach because it is a vegetable, and vegetables will always render some water. It's natural. So I have that. And this is gonna be great. Why? Because it's gonna add more moisture, more of that moisture into our salmon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start plating, because that is so important for us to really see all this dish component come together. Excuse me. All right. Here's the Holy Thursday, guys. All right. So Anybody making fish for tomorrow or even today?
I think I'm gonna make fish tomorrow now. I'm inspired by you.
Yay, good. That is the idea, that is the concept. So a great way to just get an affordable piece of fish. I'll share that with you while we have this steaming and simmering over the oven. A great way to get an extra nice lean piece of fish. You could go to BJ's. For $20, you can get a whole bag of wild-caught salmon. And it's like $22, I believe. And it's about 6 nice pieces. It has the skin on it. If you don't want to go that route, you can go to your local grocery sometimes in the frozen section, and they have, surprisingly, they have frozen wild-caught salmon with the skin off. So there's a lot of ways that you can really challenge yourself to eat better. And salmon for me is just one of the easiest ways because I'm not taking skin off, I'm not taking bones out. I don't have to be afraid of something getting caught in my throat with the fish bones. And it's just so versatile. There's so many different ways I like doing it. Put a piece on the grill. If I feel like eating some type of protein, I would usually go towards salmon. And for all my vegan and vegetarian friends out there, you can replicate the same exact recipe with a nice piece of mushroom, like a nice portobello mushroom. You can grill it. It's also versatile as well. And you can also saute it, or you can treat it just like you treat the fish. Put it over a nice bed of spinach with some onions, some garlic. The spice is really what flavors your dish. You don't need a lot of salt to flavor dish. And that's one thing that I've learned, in my Caribbean background. I know we love the salt, we love the Maggi, the bouillon cubes, but I had to learn to change all that because, I just want a better lifestyle. And it's not necessarily dieting, but incorporating more exercise, walking more, but also eating better even as I eat, because I'm a chef, I'm always cooking. And I'm a mom, and, and it's so important that our children are watching us. So whatever you're feeding them now, it's like, I had to be conscious of that. And I'm like, you know what, I need to change. And the good thing is that my family don't use Maggi anymore. They go more the natural route. I mean, when I used to live here, I did most of the cooking anyway. So I didn't want to use that processed stuff. So it's always better to go fresh and natural. You could go to Aldi's, you get a nice piece of fish. It doesn't have to be expensive at all. And for all of you who have like EBT cards and stuff, you can get fish with it. You can get salmon with it. You don't always have to get the box pizza or the lasagna. You can get fish with it. You can go to BJ's and buy a whole month's supply of fish. So it's really up to you. And you can pre-season, you can put it in the freezer and call it a day. So hope you guys are inspired by that. So let's go on and check our salmon real quick as we start plating. All right, so I'm just gonna bring this to low heat. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Notice I'm not adding oil. When I want moisture, I just add a little bit of water because we already have all the flavor that we need locked in the fish already. So what I quickly did when, because I had to look at the time. So one side, or a healthy starch, I can say, is sweet potatoes. So while we were presenting, what I did was I cut some sweet potato. I bought a sweet potato and I took the skin off. I washed it, I took the skin off, and I sliced it into these long, beautiful pieces. Okay, so you want to slice them and cut them long. And in an aluminum foil, very simple, I drizzled some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil on top of it. Okay, no salt, nothing needed. Okay, if you want to add a little salt, it's up to you. But and I'm using this as one of my sides. I didn't have to mess up my kitchen for that. I just put it in the oven real quick, 10 minutes, and it's done. And the foil just really helps it conserve, okay? So I'm gonna use that to start plating, and I'm gonna show you how that looks. So this is why I also put a little bit of cinnamon in the salmon, because the seasoning of the salmon is also gonna help me dress up my sweet potatoes. So it's just freshness to its prettiest. And see that? Okay. So now we're gonna start plating, all right? While that salmon continues to cook. So I have a beautiful plate. Now, I love plating things. You don't have to go this fancy, but I always like to do it. And it's Holy Thursday. So, as we're remembering what Jesus did on the cross, we want to eat and in remembrance of this wonderful Christian holiday. And, and it's just important. Like, when we have family over, whether it's Christmas you're celebrating or whatever it is, when you're plating something, you want to plate it well because it's a representation of you. You don't have to be like a 5-star, culinary chef, whatever, but you can put your own personality into it. And that's why one of the reasons I love cooking, because as you can tell, I got a lot of personality. So, okay, so here we go. So we're going to start plating here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I am just going to take some of my sweet potatoes. It's okay if some breaks on you and stuff. It's been baking a long time, so it's just so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna plate that. And it doesn't even matter how it looks, just have a little piece on there because we're gonna build our plate. We're gonna stack it up. Okay, so, and this is dinner for two, by the way, because I like just sharing it. If you want to share with your spouse, your husband, you can share it like that and have the plate setting around, and it's up to you, you know, or you can eat straight from here, up to you. So, so now, I'm just gonna take you on a little spin of what this looks like. Can you guys smell it from the camera? If only technology was that again, but one day it will be.
It smells so good.
So we eat with our eyes. So you can see the green, you can see the red from the peppers, the onions and everything else. And it just smells so good. So what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna start plating. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add any way you want. Okay. And I'm just gonna take the rest of my peppers and onions, and I'm just gonna dress it on top. And it could be as luxurious or it could be as fancy as you would like it, okay? So imagine your spouse comes home and you're like, oh, we're gonna eat tonight, all right. And you have this beautiful plate. And all I'm gonna do for flavor, I have some lemon slices here. And I'm just gonna continue to dress this bed, baby. All right, put some lemon slices on that. And to clean a piece of paper right here. Now, my single ladies, listen, you wanna cook for somebody that's special. This is probably one of the things you wanna do that's not gonna cost or break your bank, right? So, voila, here you go.
Woo-wee.
Beautiful.
That looks fantastic. Let's
That
give
is
her a round of
gorgeous.
applause.
I wish I was there.
Yes.
I'm hungry.
I have a question.
Yes.
The presentation is excellent.
Thank you. And you realize you don't have to break the bank. It's everything you have in your fridge.
Yes.
You are the only one eating it?
What was the pickles?
I'm sorry.
Where's the pima?
If you want to add pickles, it's up to you. But tonight I went with a more warm spice type of, you know, palette, but it's up to you. My husband would probably take the pickles, of course. But for me, you know, pickles is more of a side condiment. So it's basically bottom peppers crushed with vinegar. So if you want to add more of the acid component, you can definitely do that.
Thank you so much, Tahisha. That was fantastic. And I just want to know if anybody has any questions for Tahisha about the dish. I love the fact that you talked about the non-salt component. I think that and I come from a Caribbean background also, and know that salt is such a huge thing. And most people would have seasoned those two pieces of fish to death. Whereas you used all of these herbal components, I can really imagine how beautiful that tastes and not have to add any salt at all. So does anybody have any additional questions for Tahisha?
How long did you cook that?
It was throughout the presentation. So 2 to 3 minutes each side.
Okay.
That's great.
You can also use a thermometer, a cooking thermometer, if you want. Usually, honestly, it really depends on the cut of fish, because some cuts of fish are thicker than others. So I would just cook 2 to 3 sides so it just doesn't over dry, because thermometers sometimes don't always work depending on the cut of your fish. So, and depending if it's wild caught or farm raised. So 2 to 3 minutes each side, and you want to eyeball it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Baptiste has a question as well.
Sure, just a quick question. I'm just looking for the pro tip. So I saw you use fresh garlic, which is great. like in a pinch, can you use like the powdered garlic or the powdered onion, to seasoning, or do you just stay away from that altogether?
You can use the fresh garlic, or you can use the powder one. The only thing, I love using fresh items, and anytime I get the opportunity to use fresh, I'm gonna use fresh. Why? Because I do believe that when it's grinded up, there's something that's just missing. It doesn't taste as authentic, and garlic is one of my favorite ingredients in food. So I tried to use at least one fresh component, which was the garlic, and I used the ginger powder. I could have blended the ginger powder, processed it, or even put it in, mash it up. But I didn't choose to do that. It was just my preference. But if you wanted to do like a dry rub, that's what you would call it, you would do the garlic powder. You would do the ginger powder. Then you would do the Italian seasoning, which is all those dry herbs. They're already dried for you. So it's convenience.
Thank you so much, Tahisha. I don't see anybody else's hand raised, so I guess that everybody has been well informed and now very tempted to go make fish for tomorrow, Good Friday.
Good. Yes, I took my salmon out the freezer.
Frosting, I'm almost there.
We do hope you all enjoyed it, because next month in May, Tahisha will be back again with some more wonderful recipes for us. And we just hope that everyone here will invite a friend to come back, so that we can double our numbers, as One Brooklyn Health is very key on prevention. Education and prevention is key to us. I just was so fortunate to get Tahisha to work with me in the marketing department, and she happens to be a beautiful chef as well. So just a round of applause for
Thank you,
Tahisha.
Enid. Thank you, guys. And thank you, CB9 Community Board, for having me. And I'm really honored, and thank you so much, Enid. It's just a pleasure to serve you guys in the community. And just as I grow my journey, it's just a beautiful thing to have other people grow in their journeys as well. So God bless you all, and have a wonderful Good Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to having you next month. And also I'm looking forward for June, as well as Mr. Cummins will be our chef. Before we go, I would.
That's a hard act to follow there.
We believe in you. You got it. You got it. We believe in you.
You got it. Don't worry.
You got it. So we have Miss Blair with us. So we have continuing next month. What date is it next month again? This May 6th, right? May 6th. For cooking. It's May 6th, right, Enid?
Yes, May 6th.
Right, so May 6th, so invite a friend, and for our next healthy cooking in COVID. But we also have something that is very, very important that we need to talk about and bring our families. And I would just like Ms. Blair to address it, which will be May 15th or 16th. Ms. Blair, are you there? Ms. Blair,
yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Alice, are you there? I'm seeing her, she's logged on, but maybe she can't hear me. But I was hoping that she would be able to. We have a presentation on sexual harassment. I think it's sexual harassment, but I don't want to give information that is not correct, because I don't have the paper with me right now. So we'll be sending it out also. So we'll let you know what next we have. So we have 2 presentations for next month, cooking, healthy cooking in COVID, and also a very well packed information from Ms. Blair, who works at Kings County Hospital. And in COVID, we know it was so many people there at home. And I think COVID, as the statistics shows, that it had a lot of divorces, and a lot of people were separated during COVID, because wives got on their husbands' back, and then the husbands get on the wives' nerves. And so there is so much happening in the homes with children. But other than that, there were certain things that are happening with our young people, with women, and it is an area that she will be addressing. And I wish that she was hearing me right now, that she can give you some more information on that presentation. And I know it is a presentation that's very important for the whole family, that I would really like you to invite your friends. But nevertheless, Enid will have that information, as well as Ms. Flato, and then she will be forwarding this.
Ms. Leopold?
Yes?
I'm sorry. Alice just texted me. She is in the hospital right now with her husband.
Okay.
So she said that she can't speak. She did log on, and that's why we see her, but she's in the hospital and she can't talk right now.
Okay, okay,
right.
okay. And I wish
her presentation is on human trafficking, and it's April 15th.
Okay, yeah, April 15th. So this information will be sending it to you, and hope that you will invite invite a friend. It is information that everyone, all the family need to know about, and to bring some awareness to human trafficking. I am so thankful for all of you, the presenters, Dr. Simon, our chef, and I'm a salmon person. The two fish that I like is salmon and snapper. And I know, like Enid, I'm going out to buy, the whole week I was eating, I had salmon today, but nevertheless, I'm going out to buy my salmon, and I'm following, I wrote everything down, and I'll be following this recipe to a T. And then we come back next month. So I'm hoping that each one of you buy your salmon, use that recipe, and next month when you come, you will share with us, how it was. I know everybody might not have the same taste coming out, but because who knows, we Caribbean people, we always like to add something else, right? And the cook was saying that sometimes we just like kill the fish. I'm one of those who kill the fish. So I'll make sure that I don't become a salmon killer, and I'll just follow this recipe to a T. And we will come back and share. It was such a great evening, the presentation from Dr. Simon. I just hope that you'll come back and join us again next month. And also for June, I think it's Mental Health Month. And then as Mr. Cummings do his presentation just before, we will have some presentation on mental health and prostate cancer and on other ailments that really take over our men. So we hope that the wives would invite their husbands and brothers, or invite a friend, so we can just put that information out there, because we want our men to be healthy. So Mr. Cummings, don't worry, you got it. You got it. We know you got it, so don't worry about it.
I'm good.
So I just want to thank.
I'm good. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be eating in June. Soon in June, all right?
Yeah, so I want to thank Enid so much for putting this together, and Ms. Plato, that the two of you all worked and make this such a wonderful evening, and such a wonderful presentation, a wonderful program. I thank you, and happy Easter to everyone, and stay safe, and see you next month. If anyone else have anything to say before we go,
I have one question. Would the chef, Ms. Solange, put the recipe in the chat or send it in a written form to the board so we could have it available for people?
So that's not a problem.
Okay.
That's not a problem. I can share with you guys the recipe, and I'll send it to you via email, and you guys can share it with your peers.
Awesome.
Thank
you. And if you could just drop some of that salmon off at the office, I'll get it tomorrow.
If this one's gonna be gone by then.
That's right.
You don't hear me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, for being here. And Dr. Simon, is anything you have to say? Anyone, the floor is open. You can talk. We are home. We don't have to take the train or run outside. We are home. So go ahead and talk. The chair is here, so we are okay. Go ahead. Anyone who wants to say anything.
Yeah, Madame Solange, I'm at your door, actually, for my piece of salmon.
I mean, if you were, your background wouldn't look like that. So
I teleport
you
myself.
This way at the block,
That's
no
right,
problem.
Ms. Leopold, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the NAUW Brooklyn branch for encouraging this kind of collaboration in the community. It's really important, and we look forward to working with you guys on an ongoing basis A special thanks to the chairman of the board for coming out tonight. I'm sure he has so many things to do overall for the community board. My brother is actually a community board chair, community board 3 in Bed-Stuy.
And a Regis grad too, Regis grad.
Yes, exactly. And then finally, I really want to thank Dr. Simon. And when I asked him to do this presentation, there was no hesitation whatsoever. And he didn't exactly know what he was getting into, but he did agree to it. So we'll see if we can corral him back in June again. But I want to thank him personally for taking time because he does have a very, very busy schedule.
Thanks very much.
Dr. Simon?
Yes.
Dr. Simon, what I must say to you is that it is, you have to be very careful because anytime you come on this platform, and this platform, Community Board 9, Health and Social Services Committee, you become part of the family. So you are stuck with us.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
First and foremost, I enjoyed it. I've lectured all my life and it keeps me going. I get more educated as I continue to lecture. So consider that you have done me a favor for inviting me to be here. And you can count on me as long as you let me know a little bit early, I will be here. Okay? That's a promise.
Thank you much.
Sure.
Thank you. Warren, are you there? Warren is our first vice chair. Are you still there, Warren? Okay, I'm not seeing him, so maybe he's gone.
Now, I want to say thank you for Dr. Simon. It's a pleasure seeing him after a long while.
Right.
So let's keep in touch somehow.
Okay, all right.
I'm on this board. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, so I thank everyone for coming and for staying. I was looking at, even now that we are gone, we still have people just sitting around and just talking. So I'm so happy, and it was such a great evening and just hoping that I'll see you next month and in June. So be safe and have a great weekend and enjoy your Easter.
Yeah.
Happy holiday, folks. Take care and
Thank
be
you,
well.
Dad.
Thank you.
Take care. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night.
Good night.
Night. Thanks, Enid.
Yes, Francisca, too. Thank you.
You're
Beautiful.
welcome.
Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Great meet.
Madam Chair, job well done as always.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let me jump off.
And Alice, I
We'll
wish you all
catch
the
up later.
best for your husband. Yeah. Okay, good night, everyone, again. Bye. Bye.
Now, how do I get out? Okay.